Thank you, and good morning to everybody. It's a great celebration. These wonderful graduates here. I enjoyed very much seeing your work, and I'm looking forward to the gallery exhibition shortly after this. Everyone's invited to that, as you well know. But I'm going to speak to you this morning about a number of things, revolution being one of them, and also tradition. It is an honor for me to speak here, to be here back at Chester. I was here as a visiting artist some years ago. And I have to confess, when I was requested to make this address, I had to pause and wonder, am I really old enough for this? And then I remembered my white hair, which is here, carefully packed under this cap. And I thought, I guess I am ready. But I want to say hello to my colleagues of academia, and most especially my old comrades, Professore Matsumoto, Professore Staple. I salute you too today. The graduates, you are well armed, I presume, with your navigational tools and your Adobe skills to take on the outside world. This is a very brave endeavor, these next steps that will be taken in the many tasks of creative life. As I said a moment ago, I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about revolution and ultimately to challenge you to a very special task. Revolution comes in many forms, and I am certainly not intending to encourage us towards something violent, but rather something bold, something assertive, and something daring. I will suggest a simple exercise that might make us all a bit lighter, a bit less secure perhaps, but aim us toward an old practice that may be a new frontier for many of us. Before that, I'd like to share with you a poem written by my friend Robert Bly. It's called After the Revolution, All Things Happen at Once. Now we enter a strange world where the Hessian Christmas still goes on, and Washington has not yet reached the other shore. The whiskey boys are gathering again on the meadows of Pennsylvania, and the Republic is still sailing on the open sea. I saw a black angel in Washington dancing on a barge, saying, "Let us now divide kennel dogs and hunting dogs." Henry Cabot Lodge in New York, talking of sugarcane in Cuba, and Ford in Detroit, drinking mother's milk. Henry Cabot Lodge saying, "Remember the Maine." Ford saying, "History is bunk." And Wilson saying, "What is good for General Motors?" Who is singing? Don't you hear singing? It is the dead of Cripple Creek, Coxey's army. Like turkeys are singing from the tops of trees, and the whiskey boys are drunk outside Philadelphia. It was Bly who spoke about the industrial age as a great departure point. In his book called Iron John, A Story of Men, he makes the point by telling of people turning away from the fertile lands of nature and moving toward the cities, where factories and automated machines were now doing things faster and far more efficiently than ever before. These were the opportunities to urbanize and make way for the age of machines. It looked like progress. It appeared as positive change, this revolution of machines to do our bidding. But along the way, we may have forgotten, or at least left something behind from the woods into the cities. Eli Whitney and his cotton gin began this revolution back in 1793. Still more developments with Henry Ford's completed assembly line in 1913. And there were later advancements in warfare, no less. How Einstein warned against such developments with the decimation of 2 Japanese cities in 1945. This too looked like progress. But here we are today. Our typewriters have all disappeared. Gone are the Smith Coronas and the sleek Italian Olivettis and the tireless electric IBMs, all gone. Been replaced by our PCs, our laptops, but even these things have been proven too slow and too cumbersome. We now have our Blackberries, our iPhones, replacing our iMacs with iPads while being entertained by tiny iPods. I expect someone might design a silver reflective bag, put an apple on it, and produce the world's first iPoop. And that can accompany us on our dog walks with our iScoops. We can then participate as good citizens of the planet. Someone should do this and make millions. But this is what troubles me about our amazing advanced technical age, where precious books are now being replaced by the ease of Kindle, where you can download the most recent Stephen King horror, a classic John Irving, or a literary gem by Alice Walker. But can we really curl up warmly to a small generic type screen of text and take that gem in? I confess that one of the simple pleasures for me is to take a hardcover or a soft cover and hold that book really close, for me to take it into my body, my face, and even I suspect to my soul. I can better feel the heat of the work. I would even say the light of the work, as its pages caress me to ultimately fall asleep in pure pleasure at the stories and images just shared. Can you do this all bleary-eyed from a piece of glass in front of you? Today we can gaze out at Manet's Olympia, Van Gogh's Sunflowers in a matter of seconds, rather than make the actual trek to Amsterdam or Paris. Why travel to Roma to witness Bernini's creations in the Piazza Navona when we can sum them up instantly in our palms? We wouldn't need a colored gelato from Tres Scalini either, because a simple Ben & Jerry's Peace Pop will satisfy that very delicious desire. But do we really think that we can ever replace the experience of the fine print from the artist's page monograph, or the very thing itself made on true fiber paper from silver gelatin? Can we ever replace the most wonderful experience of actually being there, of walking in the place of brave men and women, their places on the planet among us who have come before, perhaps as less technical and simplified people? Is it time yet for a revolt? Do we hear the call of revolution? Are we tempted to consider disowning the tiny world replicas that we hold in our hands? Do we hear again the sounds of our humanity beckoning us to remember the simple things? I don't believe we can ever escape these creations, our technologies, but nor should we. These gifts from Whitney, from Ford, or Steve Jobs should be utilized. They should be handled and understood to remove some extra labor from our bodies as we exercise our minds. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing really wrong at all. Nothing wrong from coming in from the fields to find the cities. But it is important to know the fields, to smell the woods, the earth, and the air away from the cities. And the light is very different there. Not necessarily better, just different. But who's to say what really is better or best? This is what we will discover, all of us, in the classroom of the larger world. With our creative minds and polished skills, we will seek the world lessons on becoming a well-rounded person. And what is a well-rounded person? An Italian nobleman of the 16th century by the name of Baldassare Castiglione, and that's a mouthful. You lose 20 calories every time you say that. Baldassare Castiglione. From Urbino in the Marche region of Renaissance Italy, he claimed a revival of humanism, of values qualified by skills, such as the mastery of the sword and a proficiency of athletic excellence. The humanist must know Latin and Greek and all the classics, claimed Castiglione. The perfect man should be able to compose, draw, and play a musical instrument, and he should carry himself with the air of nonchalance and grace. Proper breeding and education would equip the well-rounded person to influence the ruler to govern very wisely. However, Castiglione believed that women too should have a knowledge of letters, music, and art, but she should not violate the soft and delicate tenderness that defines her nature and quality. He made an example of proclaiming that a woman may play the harp or the lute, but never a drum or a trumpet, as this would not be proper, and she should proceed with all shyness and bridled wit. Fortunately, a feminine voice known as Lucrezia Marinella stood to challenge these humanistic male persuasions, claiming women as equal to men. She too may play tennis and bang a drum quite soundly, Other strong and determined feminine voices fed the free minds and spirits, renewed and rebirthed the new humanists. Few women then in the 16th century were very assertive, but some did pursue learning as a virtue and assume their place alongside their male counterparts. But centuries later, the heroic examples of Sojourner Truth, Rosa Parks, Gloria Steinem, Nancy Spiro, and Maya Angelou reaffirmed equal rights and human rights for both genders as the norm. This, I suggest, is the true humanism, and such beliefs define the well-rounded person. But hey, speaking of tennis, we might remember, some of us parents especially, that tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs back in 1973. And you can all Google this, and you probably see that video. Riggs was an aging but accomplished tennis player and the classic male chauvinist. And he dared Billie Jean, a champion of the sport at that time, to a tennis match. And I can tell you it was beautiful to watch him defeated as she kicked his butt royally on that court. Riggs was hardly a suitable, well-rounded person, and Billie Jean certainly proved her worthiness and humanity.